now that we are here, we can't be shocked that there's a biblical literacy problem.
Great point.
It's really not the thing that we emphasize a ton. What we do emphasize, though, is leadership acumen. And our pipelines are designed to get the kids from children's ministry, youth ministry, internship, school of ministry, and to really select those young people who show strong leadership acumen as opposed to the nerds who know all the Bible verses.
Welcome to the Leading Second podcast, a space to help church leaders thrive in the second chair. The Leading Second podcast releases every Thursday morning, so hit subscribe and share this episode with your team. Let's jump into another episode for all of us who lead from the middle. Welcome to the Leading Second podcast. It is our honor to have you in this space with us today. And if you lead from the middle in any capacity, Leading Second is for you. If you find this episode to be helpful, I want to encourage you to visit leadingsecond.com/podcast and to download the episode guide we've created for today's episode. Feel free to use this with your team as a resource if you feel that it would be of value. We would absolutely love it if you would help us to make some noise about the podcast by sharing it with your team. You can also post this episode on social media or leave ratings or reviews. It all helps share the message and move the ministry forward. Today, we have Dr. Manny Arango on the podcast. Let's jump into the interview.
Well, Leading Second, welcome back to Season 7 of the Leading Second podcast. My name is Brandon Stewart, and we are so excited and honored to have you in this space today. Of course, we have created this podcast and this ministry to help church leaders thrive in the second chair. So if you lead from the middle, welcome home. We're glad you're here. And surprise, surprise, I am joined right from the top today with our good friend.
Let's go.
We're calling you family.
Oh, I'm
the one, the only. Hold on, wait for it. Dr. Manny Arango.
Dr. Manny Arango.
That's phenomenal. Congratulations, my friend.
It still isn't real. I've been a doctor now for 2 months. It's funny. I had this really, really funny moment at Social Dallas, the church that I serve at.
Yeah.
Pastor Robert's youngest daughter, I think she's either 5 or 6. And, they celebrated me at Social for like getting my doctorate.
Sure.
And like really made a big deal out of it. It was really, really, really cool. And so Remy comes up to me and she's like, I've got a stomach ache. And I'm like, oh, sweetheart, like I don't know how to help you with that.
She's like,
and then she just looks at me and goes, I thought you were a doctor.
Right.
And I went, oh, not that kind of doctor.
That's so funny.
And she's just like, how many kinds of doctors are there? And I was like, if you have Bible questions, I can answer you.
That's amazing.
And she just looked at me in utter disgust and walked away. And
you're of no use to me right now.
I was like, I had one chance. And I blew it. But
well, hey, we do celebrate you. Congratulations. And it's actually going to play into where we're going today on the podcast, mind you, but congratulations on that.
Thanks.
And let's do the commercial then before we get into the conversation. Not only are you our friend, our family, our doctor, hello, you are also our guest speaker at Leading Second Camp in Dallas.
Come on.
February 2025. Yeah. Come on, somebody.
February 26th and 27th. Did I get those dates right?
You got it right.
February 26th and 27th, 2025.
LeadingSecondCamp.com. And if you are on a church team, you don't have to be like the executive pastor or something. If you are on a church team, you are carrying the vision. To me, it felt the same in ministry being the intern as it did, being an executive director at the church. If you carry the vision, we want to have you in the room.
Absolutely.
For a 2-day event that's going to be really special. I would encourage you to register now. It's open. The price will never be lower. Bring a group. There's a discount for that. We'd love to have you. And tell me this really fast. Why are you excited to be a part of Leading Second Camp?
Man.
In the room with leaders.
Number one, I'd love to be a part of providing something that I wish I had when I was leading second.
My whole reason for it, yes.
I'm leading second even less than I was when I was a youth pastor. I was a youth pastor for 10 years, but I was on the executive team and I was a part of a lot of decisions. And there's so many how like, I don't know if anybody ever told you this, they would say like, well, when you're a parent, you'll understand. And what they're saying is it's really hard for you to have an opinion or a perspective from shoes you've never walked in.
Yep.
And then what happens, right? Like I'd be judging these parents like at the airport, like your kid's throwing a tantrum, whatever. And then I had a kid and I just went,
yeah, no,
man,
I get it.
These jokers are sometimes uncontrollable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas now as a parent, I see a kid having a meltdown, I don't really judge anymore. I'm just like, sorry.
Yeah,
like from one parent to another, I'll give you a hug.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And I think sometimes we don't realize how much stress, spiritual attack, pressure comes with being a senior leader.
That's right.
And it's just hard. It's funny. I was sitting down with somebody at a church, and I'm really good friends with their senior pastor. I come in to speak a lot. And they were in the middle of like a $10 million building project. And I looked at them. They like lead young adults in some groups and some other stuff. And I was like, have you ever signed your name on the loan for $9 million? Oof. And they were just like, no. And I just went, you want to know what kind of stress?
Yeah.
Like you're just.
Yep.
I think here's like the rub, right? Sometimes I can stop appreciating who someone is because I'm mad about who they're not. Like that's where offense really comes. I'm upset with who this person isn't.
Wow.
And I'm like, I need you to like reevaluate like your stress versus theirs, and just know that like God thought that you were that you had what it take to like hold this leader's arms up.
Yeah.
And I think we also live in a culture, without me going on a rant, I think we live in a culture that is pervasive with victim mentality. And
True.
Which means we create a hierarchy. So I have empathy for people below me, beneath me, but it's hard to have empathy for people that lead me. That's hard, right? It's not, so I have empathy for poor people. I don't have empathy for wealthy people. But there's a whole lot of people who are wealthy who are dealing with a whole bunch of problems.
Yeah.
And they actually deserve tons of empathy.
Very good.
But I'm like, they're fine.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. There's something in us that naturally just wants to go, what do they have? What problems do they have?
So
and it's
true.
like, that is Marxist. Okay?
Totally.
That whole mindset of the only people who have problems are the people who are poor is crazy. Actually, there are wealthy people who have tons of problems.
Totally.
And if you ever got wealthy, you would realize what their problems are.
Totally.
And sometimes we can think like, oh man, it's the janitor that needs help. It's the choir director that needs help. I need help because I'm stressed out. And we don't have empathy for the senior pastor or the senior leader.
That's so good.
And so helping people to go, hey, it's why I'm always like, and I know this may rub people the wrong way, but, I've helped a lot of my friends go, you got to have empathy, like, because I live in a world where they're like, having empathy for minority groups, easy. Having empathy for Black people or Hispanic people or Asian people, easy. And I'm always like, when's the last time you had empathy for a white person?
Yep.
Do you know what it's like to walk around and like deal with like, I don't know how to, like, hey. Like at some point we all have to come to the place of, hey, I've got empathy for police officers. I've got empathy for people that society is telling me I don't need to have empathy for. And that can get into church, which robs us of our ability to have empathy for the people that we're actually following. And so I'm just like, hey, I'm excited because I wish somebody had said that to me.
Totally.
When I was on staff at a church, like, hey, that same muscle of empathy that you use for the single mom, that same muscle, you need to use that for your pastor.
So good.
Because at the end of the day, stress is very relative. And that single mom is stressed, but your senior pastor is also really stressed. And who are you to judge who has the better right to be stressed? Like that's absolutely ignorant. Your job is to be compassionate. Anyway, so that's... We've already started off. Here we go. We're already dropping bombs.
Well, I think this is going to be the extended.
Stepping on toes.
This is going to be the extended version today because we're still on the commercial. But leadingsecondcamp.com for more information. There you go. It's going to be a great event.
I'm going to speak. I'm not going to say anything controversial at Second leading second camp. I promise
Come
I'm
on,
not gonna
help us spice it up.
I'm not gonna step on anybody's toes.
It'll be great. It'll be great. Okay.
I'm gonna be very off-brand.
It is with incredible expectation in our hearts that we invite you to join us at Leading Second Camp 2025. We've created this space for all of us who lead from the middle. If you serve on a church staff, a leadership team, or serve in your church in any capacity, you'll find yourself at home in this tribe as we gather to be realigned and refreshed in ministry. If you've been to camp before, you know this is a powerful time where our tribe comes together, true peers in ministry, gathered to seek God and learn from each other. We've seen God do a special realigning work in our hearts at each event, and I believe God has something new and something special for us this year. Our deepest prayer for Leading Second Camp in 2025 is that you would go home marked by God for the ministry with which you have been entrusted, with a cry in your heart to be found faithful.
February 26th and 27th in Dallas, Texas. To find out more and to register, go to leadingsecondcamp.com.
Well, hey, I am so excited for our conversation today.
Me too.
And I'm so excited to have a conversation with you on biblical literacy for leaders.
Yeah, it's like my life's passion.
My team was like, say that 10 times fast at the beginning. Biblical literacy for leaders. There we go. So I'm so excited to dive into this. I think there's some territory we need to talk about today. First of all, 60 seconds on the clock, dive in. Why are healthy second chair leaders necessary for a healthy church?
Oh my gosh, because there's more second chair leaders than any other chair.
Yeah.
Like,
well, there you go.
Just numbers.
Yep.
Just sheer numbers. Also, Jesus never sends people out not 2 by 2. Like, he sends 2 leaders out at a time. He sends out teams. We never see Paul on a missionary trip by himself. It's either Barnabas or Silas or Luke or somebody. Like, we don't believe in doing ministry by yourself.
Yeah, alone. Yeah.
Like, we just don't believe that. And so second chair leaders are absolutely vital for the health of the organization. They're absolutely vital for the health of the church. And if the leader, I mean, I'm a Boston Celtics fan. I'm from Boston.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited because I feel like good teams are made up of people who, you know, the name on the front of the jersey means more than the name on the back of the jersey. Right. And so second chair leaders do that and do it well. And we love you and we need you for the church to move forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we were just talking a minute ago. I want to dive in on this thought that there's a shift that has been happening, let's call it the last 80 years or so.
Yeah.
Since World War II, you mentioned, to the role of the pastor. Why don't you just start there today and frame some things in for us?
Easy. So I'm a nerd. I like history. And I also like to diagnose problems well, because when you diagnose problems correctly, you actually get the right solutions.
Yep.
Nothing's more frustrating. You know, anybody on church staff knows, nothing more frustrating than thinking, you know, here's a solution, it's going to fix this problem.
Totally.
And then we sit in a creative meeting for hours, and then we come up with the wrong solution.
Absolutely.
And then we launch a project, and then it doesn't fix the problem because we didn't diagnose the problem well. So everyone knows there's a biblical literacy problem. Like, Barna knows that.
Yeah, that's
you walk
rampant.
into the average church, you know that.
Yeah.
The deconstruction movement over the last, really since COVID, I feel like it got like crazy. You know, we know there's a biblical literacy issue. But we have to ask the question, okay, but why? Like, how did this start? Where did this come from? So that we don't apply bad solutions. So that's kind of like my preface. I'm a nerd. I love history. One of the things that you begin to realize, a subtle shift, like this is not huge, it feels subtle, is that prior to World War II, if you went to a church, like on a Wednesday, okay, and talked to the secretary, and you wanted to meet with your pastor, they would tell you, oh, pastor's in his study right now, okay? Just listen to that word. He's in his study.
In his study.
And you would typically walk in, there would be commentary sets on the walls, tons of books. His study would feel a little bit like a library, okay? If you sat down with your pastor in 1938, okay, there'd be tons of, periodical reviews and all, like the pastor's job was to disseminate their denomination's theological stance. So if they were Presbyterian, they are making sure that this church is Presbyterian. And well, that includes theology, okay? When you go post-World War II, here's what begins to happen. The CEO in America, the American CEO becomes the rock star, becomes the ideal American male. And this subtle shift begins to take place where pastors no longer have a study, but now they have an office. And they are the chief executive officer. Okay, so the office of the senior pastor. And they no longer have a secretary, they have an administrative assistant. And the role of the pastor moves away from communal theologian, from I disseminate doctrine, I care for people, and I teach on Sundays, to I preach and I lead the organization. So our framework for leadership is really framed in ways that I don't think we want to admit, right? Like, and trust me, let me iterate. I love capitalism. I am like, capitalism is awesome.
Sure,
okay?
yeah.
But I think what we sometimes don't realize is that capitalism is the air we breathe. Like, so we are fish in water. And so we naturally elevate entrepreneurs, CEOs, business owners. We naturally are like, these are leaders. But they're leaders because of the system. And the system is a capitalist system. Now, I like our system. Nothing wrong with our system. But I don't like when we operate based on default.
Yep.
We have to operate based on design and intention.
Yep.
And so what can begin to happen is we don't realize, hey, we're bringing patterns of behavior from the secular marketplace and we're bringing them into church. So let's see if you can relate to this, okay? How many times have you heard a leadership lesson and the Bible didn't really get quoted? No one, Good to Great got quoted, okay? Patrick Lencioni got quoted. God forbid, Gary V got quoted, okay? So like we're
Gary
talking
V.
about leadership at church.
Yeah.
And no one's talking about like consecration, integrity, the Bible,
Right.
prayer. These are like spiritual topics. But no, we're gonna talk about leadership. We're talking about leadership. And it's like, well, the Bible talks about leadership. They don't talk about leadership like a CEO. It talks about leadership from a different perspective. So if you just think, okay, post World War II, the role of the pastor goes away from, hey, I'm kind of the guardian of the theology. Like I'm a guardian of truth. That's like what I do. Like hospital visits, weddings, funerals.
Yep.
Like I'm pastoring, so I'm shepherding, and I'm really like, I'm not even needing to create content. I am really just contextualizing Baptist theology or Presbyterian theology or, whatever my denomination is.
Yep.
So think about what like the wave that we've seen post-World War II. We've seen the non-denominational movement,
Yep.
the independent church movement. So now, every senior pastor is a content creator. Okay, I'm responsible for a new message, and now it's motivational, it's inspirational, it's more evangelistic, which means our churches are growing. Because the churches are growing, now I have to CEO this thing, and I've got to hire way differently. And I'm not even saying any of this is a problem. I'm not saying this is wrong.
Yeah, you wouldn't argue that leadership isn't necessary or management isn't necessary. Yeah, absolutely.
The church has to be relevant to the age that it's in.
Yes.
So none of this is bad, but it makes us go, all right, now that we are here, we can't be shocked that there's a biblical literacy problem.
Great point.
It's really not the thing that we emphasize a ton. What we do emphasize, though, is leadership acumen. And our pipelines are designed to get the kids from children's ministry, youth ministry, internship, school of ministry, and to really select those young people who show strong leadership acumen as opposed to the nerds who know all the Bible verses.
Well, I'll be really transparent. That was me. So I you know, and I mean, no dishonor to anyone who has led in my life. I've been formed tremendously, and deep love for God's house. But I will admit that it took me way too many years in church leadership to realize that one of the central themes of the epistles of Paul's writing, and you know, and the other one of the central themes is guarding the gospel and warning against false doctrine.
Yes.
It's
watch your life and doctrine closely.
It's absolutely everywhere.
Yes.
It has the toughest stance to it, you know. So
yes.
I will admit that for the amount of emphasis the early church leaders given it, I had not given it that emphasis in my life.
Yes.
And because of exactly what you're saying, so okay, you know, we
emphasize a lot of other things, right?
Yeah.
Being a bringer, creating culture.
So there's a lot of good. There's a lot of good I got, and yet I think, you know, where this came to a head for me, I think I knew this, but where this came to a head for me was the last 4 or 5 years, where all of a sudden, and my pastor would say this, my pastor's been such a great leader, even recalibrating in his own right now, because he started saying after 2020, we have churches full of people who are assembled but are not aligned.
Yep.
We are not aligned theologically.
Yep.
So our leadership program, LDP, Leadership Development Program, now includes multiple weeks on what we believe. Not 1 week, not 2, more than 3. I mean, it's literally, he goes line by line, culture issue by culture issue, statement of faith. He goes down the whole thing. Because if you're going to lead and influence in our church, we've got to get back to some things. And I'm appreciating that is making its way back into the church. But I think you'd agree we have a lot further to go.
We got a lot further to go. And the reality is that with every decision we have to go, there's good and there's bad. So I grew up in a church, okay, where in order for my dad to park cars, in order for my mom to serve in children's ministry, okay, they had to go through a 3-month foundations class to become a member of the church, and they had to take an exam, okay? My dad cheated on the exam, got caught, got kicked out of foundations class, had to start over from the beginning, took the man 6 months to park a car, okay? Now,
so funny.
We replaced that with what a very popular model, growth track, okay? 4 weeks, and, you know, you're ready. You can park the cars. Okay, I'm not saying that's bad, but where does the 3-month foundations class go?
Yeah, if it's not going to exist, where?
If it's not going to exist here, it's got to exist somewhere.
Yeah.
Because maybe you don't need it to park a car, but you need it to do something. Okay, so so let's think about systems, right? Because the reality is that although we may not want to admit it, Darwinism is real. Okay, the survival of the fittest, like selection. That what happens with nature is that nature breeds out things that shouldn't be and breeds in things that are going to make the species survive. Okay,
sure.
And culture does the same thing. Church does the same thing. Okay, so that's the survival instinct in us that makes us go find leaders. We need leaders, man. We need people with influence, right?
Right.
And so it's not even evil. It's just every institution wants to survive. It's why there's so many Mormon influencers. They're just trying to survive. Okay, so I don't know if you've ever realized that there's a
tons
of like Mormon influencers. You know, they're just out here trying to survive.
And our churches, I mean, I get to walk in the door of a lot of churches who, by God's grace, are growing.
Absolutely.
They're growing quickly, but to grow quickly, you need leaders.
Absolutely.
And so no one wants to get there, but we end up in the warm bodies mode of just putting people into places. I get why it happens. You're on the treadmill, and you know, the thing is just moving. And you've got to keep up with it.
And so let's think back to, okay, what's the model of ministry that Jesus comes up under? Okay, the model of ministry is at 12. Formal education for Jews would start around 5 years old, first grade, kindergarten. And you start memorizing the Torah. And then but at 12, if you've got the chops to really like keep up with the rabbis, you start answering their questions and questioning them. So Jesus isn't in the temple like, hey, you get to talk to the rabbis because you brought the most kids to your bar mitzvah. He has the theological chops to talk to adults. And so the formation, the actual system of formation, it selects the thing that it's looking for. It's like this idea that whatever you're looking for, you will find, okay? If I'm looking for Bible nerds, I'll find them, and then I'll elevate them.
Yeah.
And then they'll be the thing that kind of gets in the pipeline. So if we ask, like, okay, what's the biblical, like, what is the issue? Like, what's the biblical illiteracy issue? I would say, well, part of the issue really comes down to what do we value? Whatever we value, we're going to find in the next generation. Whatever you value, you then reward. And then whatever you reward, you're going to get more of. And so, I would say, okay, if you look, if we say, hey, post World War II, we're really starting to see a shift. Now we can actually apply some good solutions to go, all right, like we are where we are. Now we got to like kind of course correct.
It's so interesting that you said post World War II. We spoiler alert, we had barely any time to sync up on this episode, so we are just literally talking here. This is how we go. But man, I read a book several years ago called "The Storm Before the Calm," and it refers to cycles in America, historical cycles. Yeah, and it's interesting that you're saying this because one of not to get off on the tangent, but the book predicted in the late 70s, the author began to predict that the 2020s in America would be turbulent. It's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
Wow.
And it was based on cycles he was observing. So I won't get into it. It's a great book. But one of the cycles began with World War II and is set to end right about 2028, 2030. Is right about is what he's estimating.
Yeah.
And so it makes me wonder, because we will now start to heat up for a new cycle after that period of time in our nation, politically, economically, socially.
Yeah.
So this
means we get to lead during some exciting times.
Absolutely. So I think this is such an important conversation that's only going to heat up and not go away because the church and Gen Z and younger people, they are needing something completely different from leaders.
1,000%.
Not what we needed, not what we thought we need. They need something different. And I think this is more than just we're mad at the deconstructors on TikTok or something. No, the needs of people are actually fundamentally shifting in the North American church.
Absolutely.
Right now.
And I think wisdom and truth are at an all-time high in terms of how important they are. I think people absolutely. I was at an event recently, and Chris Hodges said this. He said, hey, when we all started churches, content was, no one was making content. Like YouTube wasn't a thing. Like churches were places that could be content heavy because everyone had community. Everyone had community. Nobody had content. So the church just went ahead and met the need that was there. He said, and now we have
everybody
2
has
or 3
content.
generations later, and we have a bunch of people trying to build the same style churches.
Wow.
And he goes, if I were church planting right now, this is a man who's in his 60s, saying, if I were church planting right now, I'd go less content, more community, right? Because it's the church's job to be relevant, not trendy, but relevant. And I would add to that, I would go, the kind of content I think is changing. I think as I begin to really engage a lot with Gen Z, most of our employees are Gen Z. They are so informed, but don't have wisdom. So now it's not even biblical literacy. I mean, I talk to the average question that a 12-year-old is asking today versus when I started in youth ministry 15 years ago, radically different.
Yeah, totally.
Radically different, way more informed, but needing handles on like, how do I operate my life with wisdom and with truth? And so I don't think it's I think we're doing people a disservice to think we could just keep on chucking along as if nothing has changed in American society.
Okay, I got one more question I want to ask you before we're done.
Okay.
And I feel like we just got started yet. We need to not have a 2-hour episode here. So recently I had an interaction with someone. It was a comment section spat that spilled over into the DMs.
Okay, I like those.
And actually went really well.
Good.
I actually kind of came to a resolution. So I'll respect that person. We were not seeing eye to eye, but yet kind of we got there, you know.
Yeah.
So anyways,
and I'm glad it got to the DMs,
which was funny because you comment on somebody and then when they come back in the DMs, I know who you are and what you do. I was like, oh shoot, I hope I wasn't too mean or snarky.
Yeah,
I thought it was a random account, faceless account or something. But no, this is a person. This is a church leader I'm talking to.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it was good. But we talked about this idea, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. He was making the case churches should be known for what they're for, not what they're against. And I was pushing back on the idea.
Okay.
So I think there's a lack of comfortability in younger leaders.
It's a really trendy thing to say.
It's a trendy thing to say, and it's like we're not comfortable being known for what we're against. We only want to be known what we're for. And by the way, that if we adopt the world's view that first of all your problems are your identity, and then when you bring truth or try to correct a problem, you're hating the person.
For sure.
For sure. We have to make sure we're not playing on those grounds. That's not what we believe. I would just love to hear what you have to say about, biblical literacy, biblical clarity, and the need for it, because this is a prevailing thought. We should be known for what we're for, not what we're against.
Yep.
What would you say to that? And what would be a better way to think about that?
Okay. First of all, Jesus was very known for what he was against.
Yes.
Like I also really strongly dislike what I would call caricatures of Jesus. Okay? So essentially, the elements of Jesus that I like, I'm going to exaggerate. And I'm not going to balance them out with all the times Jesus told people they were going to hell.
Yeah.
Just straight up, you're going to hell. I mean, Jesus is walking around damning a lot of people to hell. This is Jesus.
Yeah.
Nice
Jesus.
Nice, loving, accepting, affirming Jesus, okay? That guy is like weeping and gnashing of teeth. Like, that is the guy who's just like, hell, you're going to hell, okay? So this idea, this whole idea that Jesus is just like known for what he's for is like, all right, so you took the 15 passages that you like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then okay, so let's take the famous one, right? Jesus, the woman caught in adultery.
Yep.
Jesus covers her, makes you without sin, cast the first stone, saves her life.
Neither do I condemn you.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
Okay, go and sin no more.
Yes.
Hey, stop.
Yes.
Stop sinning. It's not like, go see your therapist. That's not what Jesus said.
Yeah.
Jesus didn't say go see your therapist. He said stop sinning. Don't do this. Okay?
So true.
Don't sin anymore.
Yeah. Wow.
So what we do, we're just like, look at Jesus, man, sticking it to the Pharisees, man, who are like, who want to stone this woman. And then it's like, oh, that's the same dude who's like, hey, and here's grace and truth. Okay, grace and truth. What does he do? He defends her publicly, but then corrects her privately.
Yes.
That's good leadership. This is good. This is good pastoring.
Yep.
Hey, man, I'll stick up for you. Okay? The graphic is wrong. I'm not going to blast you in the middle of church. No. Hey, give it up for the graphics team. They're amazing. They're doing their best. Hey, one-on-one, don't freaking mess up the graphics anymore. Okay, awesome. Okay, cool. So Jesus is, I think people have snapshots of Jesus in the Gospels. I don't think that let's just think about this, okay? Anyone who winds up getting crucified pissed somebody off.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this whole, if Jesus was just known for what he was for, he'd still be alive.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
But clearly, he was against the Sadducees. He's against the Pharisees. He's so much so against them that they conspire to kill the guy.
Yep.
They don't just kill him because he needs to be an atoning sacrifice.
Yes.
There's
Not at all.
actual, real life reasons as to why he ticked them off.
Yep.
And so, Paul, it's pretty clear what he's for.
Right.
But, okay, and I'll say this. Every time I'm for something, I'm against something else.
Yep.
Being for something
Is automatically,
being
yes,
against
yes,
other things.
yes.
When my wife walked down the aisle and I stood there and I received her as my wife and I made a covenant and I said, I'm for you. It meant I'm against having sex with every other woman on the planet.
Yes.
That's what that meant.
100%.
I can't just be like, oh no, just know what I'm for. No, I'm against flirting with other women. I'm against going on dates with other women. Like I'm against DMing other women. I'm against that.
Yeah,
And because I'm against that,
I am for
being with my wife.
Yeah.
So this is like, I think sometimes we just parrot stuff we hear. It's like at
That's
some
so
point
true.
someone heard that. Now, do I agree that there are people who they don't know what they are for? They do know what they are against. That's true. That's true, right? And so the statement is in response to people who are just like, I don't smoke and I don't drink and I don't this and I don't that and I don't this and I don't that. But when you ask them like, but do you evangelize or do you invite people to? No, it's just Christianity for them is about what they don't do.
Yeah.
And so I get it. But what typically happens, instead of correcting, we overcorrect.
Yeah.
And so now it's like I'll say it this way. I think we have to begin to, and then I'm going to be a bit of a Bible nerd. I think that we have to rescue the word gospel. Okay, so in its original context, what does it mean to proclaim the gospel? What is the gospel? Well, the gospel is the announcement of a king. That's what the gospel is. So Julius Caesar had a gospel. Alexander the Great had a gospel. The word euangelion in Greek, the word gospel, that's not a Christian word. That's actually a secular word that Christians baptized into Christianity and said, that word makes a lot of sense. Let's go ahead and adopt it. Okay, so this is not a natively Christian word. This is a natively secular word. So if anybody wants to be a Bible nerd for a minute, you can oh my God, there's a tablet of Prienne, Prienne. It's called the Calendar Inscription of Prienne. Okay, it's one of the first. It's an archaeological find where Julius Caesar's gospel is actually printed on stone. Okay, the calendar inscription at Prienne. And so when a new king came into power, new coins, new calendars. I don't know. This is really nerdy. So there's originally 10 months in the year. I don't know if you know this. So like if you think about October, oct is 8. November, nov is 9. December, 10. Like decimate.
Wow.
Like
yeah.
Okay. So but Julius Caesar has a son named Augustus Caesar, and Augustus wanted to be the son of a god, so he had to declare that his father was a deity. So in order to do that, he gave himself a month called August, and then gave his father a month called July. Okay, so Julius Caesar is July, Augustus Caesar is August. Okay,
wow.
So and what did Augustus Caesar do? He ushered in the Roman peace. So he was called the Prince of Peace. Okay, so he's a Prince of Peace, he's the Son of God. So these terms are not natively Christian. What the gospel writers are doing is they're saying, yeah, everyone already has language for this. Jesus is actually the real Son of God. He's the real Prince of Peace, and we have a gospel for you. So the gospel made them persecuted. Because if the gospel is just, hey, you get a get out of jail free card, you can go to heaven. All you have to do is say you believe in Jesus and you're good. No one's killing Christians because of that message.
No.
But they went around proclaiming the gospel, which is Jesus is king.
He's a king.
And that message, if he's king, it means Caesar's not. Which means the gospel message that the Christians proclaimed in the first century got them killed. It got them put in the Colosseum and fed to lions. The early Christians were known for what they were against. They were very much so known, so much so that the Roman government was like, we got to kill them. Use them as torches in Nero's gardens, like kill them, because they were offensive to secularism. They were absolutely abhorrent to Roman culture. They were against paganism. They were against multiple deities. They were against all kinds of, they were adamantly against things.
Sheesh.
Because there is no way to be for God and not against whatever the enemy's agenda is.
Yes.
Or whatever is natural in culture. So it's a both and.
Totally.
We have to adamantly be for
and
stuff.
we live in the tension of both of those.
It's a tension to be man.
Yes.
It's not a problem to solve.
Yes.
So I know I kind of went on a nerdy trail.
No, it's
there,
beautiful. It's beautiful.
But the gospel is not just, hey, believe in Jesus and you're good. That's actually not the gospel. The gospel is make him your king.
Yes.
He can't just be savior. He must be Lord.
Yes.
Because only a Lord. So if Jesus is not king, he's not eligible to be savior. His blood does not work. It's like you and I can't die for humanity.
Right.
Why? Because we're not the king of the universe.
Yep.
Only a king can die. And the cross is a part of his kingdom, which is why he has a purple robe. He has what is the words in Latin above his head? King of the Jews. So the entire crucifixion scene is depicting Jesus as king, not just savior.
Yep.
He is savior because he is first king.
Yep.
And that, if I'm walking around like a normal person and there's idolatry in my life, the gospel just told me what it's against. It's against my idolatry.
Yep.
It is.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean that God's against me. He's for me. He wants me to have the abundant life that he has for me, but that's going to require that I surrender my life to him.
Beautiful. Sir, we are at a conference right now and on the sidelines here, and we've got about 2 minutes until session starts.
Let's
and we're
go.
going to have really bad behavior if we don't get in there. So you have 2 minutes to land the plane here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you this, just make it practical. And I want you to talk about Arma for a minute because we love Arma. What's a great rhythm? Someone's stirred by this podcast. They go, I want to be Bible nerd. I want to deepen my understanding. I want to build that foundation in my life. What's just a great rhythm, a great approach?
Oh my gosh. We don't even have to overcomplicate it. I was out in the lobby yesterday and I was talking to a pastor. I was talking to Dan Lord. I don't know if you know Dan Lord.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Okay. And there's a woman that came from his church and he was so happy to introduce me to her. And he said, hey, this is one of the intercessors of the church. She's been at the church for like 40 years. And then he said, she's read her Bible at least once every year since she's been a believer. And this woman just said, the Bible will change your life.
That'll change your life.
This lady's like in her 60s, maybe 70s. I don't make it a habit of guessing women's ages, but she's got to be 60, 70, somewhere in there. Yeah. And in the lobby, she's just like moved to she's like, I read it every day. She like grabbed my arm. She's like, I read the word every day.
Yeah.
I read the word of God every day. Said, it never gets old. It never gets stale. Like the word of God will change your life. It'll fix every problem. It'll give you perspective. And I just was like, oh my gosh.
And people that have been in the word always have that perspective.
Look.
Always have that perspective.
I've never met anybody who really elevates the place of scriptures to where they need to and just go, yeah, I don't like the Bible, man. I didn't get much out of that. Never. It's always the people who are like, I'm too busy, I'm too this, I'm too that. And I tell people this all the time. This last thing I'll say is we don't read it to understand. We understand it because we read it. Okay? So there's a lot of times where people say, man, I don't read the Bible because I don't understand it. And I go, oh, you just got to hang in there. You got to hang in there because guess what will happen? every time you read it and you don't understand, your spirit's still getting fed. And so what we would call as a moment of revelation is when your mind finally catches up to what your spirit's already known.
Yep.
And so those moments of revelation, those light bulb moments, those eureka moments, they're
Praise
never
God.
going to happen if you don't just read the word. And so we feed ourselves the word even when it doesn't feel like we need it, so that when we need it, we actually have it. So
And
I always tell people, get on a daily diet of God's word.
Yeah.
It'll absolutely change your life.
Yeah, and every leader, in my opinion, should be checking out Arma, your ministry. We'll leave it there. But we love you so much. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you,
mutual.
doctor. You wrote us a prescription today. Thank you for
you.
our tummy ache.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
Thank you for your faithfulness. We love you, and we will see you in February.
All right.
It is our honor to serve churches and leaders across the globe. We equip ministry leaders with the coaching, events, and resources needed to embrace their calling, get it right with their pastor, and lead in an uncommon way. Visit our website, leadingsecond.com, to learn how we can come alongside you as you lead from the middle. From the second chair, for the second chair.